At the end of the storm, there's a goal.
Greetings from Castle Goring, from Mickey, Aurora, and from me. Well, we certainly live in interesting times. And so much that is really important and interesting as well as entertaining is going on, that I actually hope we're going to have a little bit of fun today. But before we start to have the fun, I need to apologize. In the last episode, my phone, my real phone, was vibrating. Sorry. I didn't realize what was happening and that it would be picked up, etc., etc. I'm a technological ignoramus. So, apologies. My son has taught me what to do, so hopefully it will never happen again. Da-di-da-di-da. Well, Aurora says, Marty, knowing you, you're such a technological idiot that something else might happen. And she's going to love me nevertheless. Now, Anita Swanpool says, it was absolutely wonderful to have Prince William in Cape Town. Yes, he's certainly shown himself as a credit to himself and how he has matured. I have to say, I don't like the beard. Friends of mine like it. They think it makes him look hot, blah. I don't like it at all. I think he's better looking with it, without it, than he is with it. His face is finely sculpted, and you alter the balance of the face with a beard. I don't like it. That's the first thing. Second thing is, didn't you notice how badly his household slipped up in scheduling the Earthshot Awards for the exact same time as the American presidential election? Surely, if I knew somebody in Prince William's office should have known that ever since 1845, Congress has scheduled the election for the first Tuesday following the first Monday in November as election day. Talk about a slip up. Sorry. So there is William competing with the American election and quite rightly getting a reduced level of attention. Not that he didn't do well, because he did well, but what a slip up. So, of course, he also made the point that this year has been particularly bleak for him, and that, he praised Catherine for the way she has handled her illness, and he, I understand, has handled it very well as well. But he's a lot thinner, funnily enough, a lot looser in terms of less uptight than he used to be. So both of them are obviously profiting from the profound experience, because suffering can lead to spiritual growth and enlightenment. It should. Anyway, also, of course, later on this evening, Catherine will be attending the Remembrance Festival of Remembrance at the Royal Albert Hall. And tomorrow she will be attending the Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph. So it's all looking good. And yes, I'm delighted that you thought Anita Svanopol, not sure how to pronounce it, that, yeah, he acquitted himself well. I wish his staff hadn't let him down, though. Really. That's a huge scheduling error. You know, when I used to organise, well, I still do occasionally organise balls and such, you always check, never in half term, never when something major is happening. Never, never, never. There are a whole load of nevers, all of which didn't even come on the radar at Kensington Palace. Naughty, naughty, naughty Kensington Palace. Sonny Adams says, I can speak to the princess, having looked into the void and returned triumphant. Every day takes on a vigour and potency and poignancy when you live with the cancer boom over your head from an early age. Mine was when I was 39. I just turned 59. Praise the Lord, we open under duress. It really is a strange sort of blessing. That, of course, is the way to look at it. I have one of my dearest friends has lived with ovarian cancer for the better part of 2 decades, and she's only 51. And it certainly teaches you, when you have faced the void and looked into the abyss, to enjoy life and to relish life and to understand what a gift life is. That is the constructive way of growing through pain. So, and this is but one of many comments I've got along that line. So Sonny Adams, thank you so much for it. RBC says, Lady C, what do you make of Harry and Meghan popping up to make a speech about online violence against children with poppies in their lapels? Well, Harry and Meghan never miss an opportunity to inject themselves into whatever is topical that they can capitalize upon. Every bandwagon is worth jumping on. But this relates to the online meeting in Colombia that is taking place at the moment. And remember, Harry and Meghan went to Colombia. Let's go marching. Is it the Radetzky March that they were going to be sort of beating the drums to? I have no idea what march they are going to be beating their drums to, or were beating their drums to. But having said that, they did go to the capital of Colombia marching powder, and they did go on the tour that cost several 100,000 meals to impoverished Colombians as they did their photo ops. And remember, she had to show us what a fabulous figure she has and how hot she is, that she had to be semi-nude half the time, exposing bits of flesh that she, I suppose, has to advertise after all. Where's available? WARES. Available. Where's available? Where's available? Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh, some nice billionaire come and appreciate me. Yes, yes, yes. And maybe everyone else as well. After all, Mr. DeMille, I'm the greatest star that ever lived. Yes, I am. Well, they also never miss an opportunity to beat the censorship drum, to try to shut down the internet, to try to control and censor everybody on the web, to try to achieve on the web what, to a large extent, they and their supporters have achieved in the mainstream media, which is a totally skewed, perverted interpretation and presentation of the news. Isn't it interesting, though, that the American people, because remember, they are aiming to do this through the Aspen Institute and in the United States of America, to get the bonkers First Amendment repealed. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But they are trying, and they are just, I got so distraught and disappointed because there was everything in place for both of them. One tail left eye. One tail left eye. And Doria, bring me another spliff. I need to celebrate. We're going to muzzle everybody. They're still pushing their anti-First Amendment agenda. And that's what that was partly all about. And the rest of it was all about, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. I can't stand cameras. Every time I see a camera flash, it takes me right back. But please, flash, because I'm an ace hypocrite and I love nothing more than attention. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But what I found really interesting is that they are now low down on the totem pole where the presentation of news is concerned as well. So not only was she number 6 on the call sheet, and not only are they now at least sixers, but they are actually at the bottom of the totem pole, because even their snatches at attention. Oh, we need attention! Isn't working the way it worked. Isn't it wonderful? Chickens do come home to roost. And there were all those people who earlier this year, when I said Harry and Meghan were going to get their comeuppance, thought, oh, why hasn't it happened yet? And it's been happening before their eyes for the last several months. I mean, I don't know which bit of Chinese torture, as it used to be called, death by 1,000 cuts, they didn't understand, because it was not going to be death by 1 cut. It was going to be death by 1,000 cuts. And you have to just wait. Cut. And that, incidentally, is a figure of speech to those of the objectors who would think that it was anything else. It's a figure of speech. So, what do I think personally? I think it's typical, I think it's pathetic, I think it's utterly desirable that they have been relegated to the sidelines and they don't seem to catch the mood of the moment. It's not about ever-increasing control and censorship. It's now about loosening up things where people can actually disagree. After all, the American people have spoken in their millions. Look at the map of America now. Practically red throughout. Doesn't that tell them something? Clearly not. Clearly not. They're still going to be beating that drum. I don't know why Harry and Meghan just don't accept the fact that everybody with two eyes and one brain has figured out that Archie's diving talents were exposed at Birkenhead, along with the fact that their motivation originated then. Sunshine says, you just have to comment on Georgetown University, the University of Michigan, and the Guardian's reaction to Trump's re-election, as well as the government banning the farmers' protest. Oh, well, I mean, you couldn't make this up. But I gather university students have been given Lego and colouring books to ease their anxiety because Trump got in. I mean, they've also been assigned safe spaces. And if they want, they can go to a safe space and they can be given soothers and colouring books. Adults being given colouring books as if they're children. I mean, do these people not realize that adults are supposed to behave like adults? And when they show that they have been so infantilized, so spoilt, so distorted, their maturation levels so perverted, that they give our adversaries the message that they are ready and waiting to be taken over. Can you imagine a Chinese, an Iranian, a North Korean, a Russian accepting the fact that any young adult should behave as if he or she was a bottle-feeding infant? Colouring books, safe spaces, Lego, to get over the trauma of the fact that the majority of Americans decided that they wanted a change of government and a change of policy. Don't they understand that they are showing everybody that they are ill-equipped for life? They want to go and have colouring books at an age where Chinese, Indian, Russian, Korean, Iranian, members of the army and the navy are behaving responsibly and behaving as adults because they are all adults. Unbelievable. Now, as for the government banning the farmers' protest, yes, the farmers are up in arms in this country because of the ridiculous nonsense that this government is trying to do to destroy the farming industry, incidentally, and to destroy the ability of anybody who has worked for something to hand it on to their heirs. That's what this government is trying to do. That is malice of the highest order. I don't know what makes this government think that people should work to support people who are too lazy to work. And having been taxed to the hilt in our lifetime were then to be taxed upon our death as well, so that the government will get the votes of people who can't be bothered to work or want the privileges of Labour work, not Labour government, but actually, privileges of Labour Party privileges. But Labour doesn't mean Labour. Labour means not working. So it means the Labour Party is non-Labour. Unbelievable. And what has the government done? Well, first of all, the farmers' union is not fit for purpose, as various farmers have said very boldly and plainly, because the National Farmers' Union has urged people to stay away from the streets of London on the day that it was planned that there would be a mass protest. It has now been capped at 1,800 members. 1,800 members. People can maraud through the streets waving pro-Palestinian and pro-Israeli flags, and nothing happens to them. They can do it in their tens of thousands with no consequence. But the farmers, who are the ones who put the food on our table, they're not allowed. I mean, this government is turning out to be very authoritarian. It doesn't surprise me that the former Director of Public Prosecutions, our latter-day Torquemada, knows exactly how to sabotage everybody who is not a true believer of his faith. Well, Torquemada, to those of you who don't know, was the head of the Inquisition. Our latest Torquemada is called Sir Keir Starmer, and he is head of the government of this country. And he is using the law to neutralize everybody who doesn't agree with him and promote everybody whose sympathies dovetail with his own. Very interesting. Luxie says, I think President Trump has more important things to deal with than Harry's lies. I think he will be trying to sort out the economy, jobs, the border, etc. before looking at Harry. But I do feel that President Trump will not interfere with the Heritage Foundation seeking to have those documents revealed. Just like I think President Trump will not stop the Epstein or P. Diddy lists being made public. Along with those lists, I hope he opens up the government files on JFK's assassination as well as Martin Luther King's assassination. Those will be interesting, won't they? These files should not be hidden from the public. No, they shouldn't be hidden from the public. The public should know what mischief their rulers have been getting up to over the decades. Oh, that person's very inconvenient. We don't like his policies or don't like his ideas. Oh, well, we're going to oblige him. We're going to hasten him to heaven. And I do agree with you. I don't think President Trump needs to bother about nailing Harry. Niall Gardner and the Heritage Foundation and a straight judge will do it for him. You know, they say revenge is a dish best served cold. It's even better when you get somebody else to serve it up on your plate for you. And you just go nibble, nibble. Got a Laugh says, Dear Lady C, I'm so pleased Trump won for all the reasons to have already covered. However, if Harry's deported, my concern is he'll want to come back to the United Kingdom for protection, which really doesn't sit well with me. What do you think he will do? Will he come running back with his tail between his legs? Thank you. Well, my understanding is that Harry and Meghan are really very worried because, you see, they have abused the president-elect. They have been amongst his firmest critics, and not in a civilized way either, but in an abusive way. And I gather Harry's really worried that he could end up being deported. And I'll tell you, if Trump lets the process take its natural course and lets justice be served and seen to have taken place, Harry's not going to be deported. He's going to have to decamp. And Harry might then really be worried that he's not going to be allowed to get back into the United States of America easily. Where's that going to leave him and Megsy baby? Well, they have in the last day or two presented a united front as they have pontificated about the need to shut down the internet because parents shouldn't have to be bothered to oversee their children. No, everything should be throttled at source. So, and Harry and Meghan and the Aspen Institute will tell everybody what they can and can't hear, see, or listen to. Well, they're presenting a united front, but I gather behind the scenes things are anything but united. They're both self-willed. One is a dominatrix, the other is a pseudo-submissive. But, you know, a submissive who was promised the sky and instead got a bowl of really disgusting. Let's not even go there. I don't even need to articulate what I was about to say. Harry's dignity, such as it is, has been rocked to the core. Actually, dignity is the wrong word. Harry's feelings of entitlement have been rocked to the core. It's sort of for the dominatrix to wield the figurative whip when her victim no longer wants to play that game. But let us see what happens. Let us see what happens. Because they are two messes. Their lives are a mess. And it's a lot harder to extricate yourself from a mess than it is to just cleanly step over a line. But I don't think he's coming back here anytime soon. And I tell you better, nobody wants him back here, and certainly not with her. Nobody wants him back here. they might end up, if they stay together, big if, being a latter-day version of the Windsors, permanently in exile. But I gather Meg's is always hopeful. After all, I'm so hot, I'm so beautiful, I'm greatly accomplished. I have talents that are unseen as well as seen, and I display them at times so that you will know what I have as hidden promises. And let's not forget, I have the longest, most shapely legs in the world. And when people say I have the legs of a turkey and the feet of a chicken, it's because they don't see that the most shapely legs are those that are exactly like a turkey or a chicken. Chicken foot, Megsy baby. Now, some people would say it's very naughty of me to speak about her legs. Well, I would say that anybody who has dignity, self-awareness, and aims to be chic should know that you don't reveal your failings, you conceal them. And when you don't, it shows a degree of arrogance and disconnectedness from reality that deserves to be called out. So, I wouldn't be commenting on her mager foot and mager leg, as they would say in Jamaica. I'm not. I wouldn't be calling them out normally. But this is not a normal situation. She is an exhibitionist who is insane enough to think that because she perceives them to be beautiful, everybody else is to acknowledge her perception. Well, I'm sorry. I studied art. I used to be a model. I have a degree in fashion. I'm calling her out. Otter says, the world can now see that the United States is not divided as others would have them believe. President Trump not only won the electoral vote, but he also won the popular vote. The Republican Party also took the Senate and is expected to take the House. It has taken the House. You cannot get any more united than that. No, you can't. No, you can't. I only hope that Trump doesn't blow it. I hope that he understands that he has been given something that he needs to cherish and respect. There is already talk of him bringing the war in Ukraine to an end, and that can't happen quickly enough for me. I would also like to see him resolve the Middle East situation equitably, with honor. Trump has a Jewish son-in-law and he has a Lebanese son-in-law. Hopefully, he's going to understand that the might of the United States of America can be used to secure peace rather than ever-increasing war and the destruction and death that comes in its wake. So let us see. Diane South says, all of them in the Labour Party that called President Trump's names should be put in prison, like the man put in prison for calling the police scum. There are rules. Dan South, you are referring to Peter Lynch, and I personally believe that people should be able to call anybody that they want scum. I believe in freedom of speech. And I see no reason why somebody should be arrested or put in prison for calling anybody scum, whether they are scum or not. If you think you've been defamed, sue in a civil court. Freedom of speech requires that you can be, and on occasion should be, offensive. That's what freedom of speech is about. But I agree with you. Why isn't David Lammy being charged with some of the crimes that Peter Lynch was charged with? David Lammy has abused President Trump in the most reprehensible and disgusting way. And Keir Starmer has decreed that he is going to remain Foreign Secretary for the life of this government. So in other words, Keir Starmer is telling the American government, the American president-elect, the next American president, we are entitled to abuse you, and if you don't like it, suck salt. Let's see what Trump comes up with, because Lammy was lecturing Trump about not resorting to tariffs. And of course, Trump is going to be so terrified of David Lammy that he's going to obey him. The older you get is the more you realize how totally insane some people are. Robin Robinson says, well, the failure of Starmer's little pack of activist thugs in preventing Donald Trump from becoming president just shows how lightweight a government the UK really has. Laugh out loud. Good luck and God bless Nigel Farage, the saviour-to-be of the UK. The unification of the Labour and Conservative parties can now be called the Uni-party. We have the same in Australia. President Trump has already contacted the French president before the leader of the US's main ally, the UK. Sorry, but the blatant lies, hate and dangerous speak came from one party in the main, and it was not the Republicans. Well, an Australian has spoken. Many other people agree. I understand that sometimes when people are furthering a political agenda, they let their passions get the better of their civility and their reason. But one thing I do agree with what Robin Robinson says, is that effectively the Labour and Conservative parties are the same. The last Conservative government was indistinguishable from this Labour government in some ways, but not in others. This Labour government is simply more extreme. But when you have Conservative politicians stating, as some have done in the last week, that it will be the death of the Conservative Party if it moves to the right. If it doesn't move to the right, it's not fit for purpose and it deserves to be amalgamated into the Labour Party. And they can call it the Uni-party, I suppose, will be a perfectly good name. Although I don't know why we can't call it the Gauche Party. I think that would be the accurate name for it. Gauche. Remember, in France, in French, gauche is left. So let's call it the gauche party. If things continue at the rate they are going, and it's very difficult to predict whatever is going to happen in a massive sociological context, but if things continue at the rate they are going, it is, and if this government thinks that it is going to be able to strong jaw and insult President Trump the way they did the last time he was in power, the Labour Party did, and they've done it again this time. And Starmer has made it absolutely clear that David Lammy is here to stay. Well, let's see for how much longer. But if he does stay, do they seriously think that Trump is going to be giving concessions to a British government that is antagonistic towards him? Let's wait and see what happens, because if the Labour Party digs its heels in, a lot of people are saying, yes, go right ahead and dig your heels in, because it's simply going to give Nigel Farage a clear run for being Prime Minister in 4 to 5 years from now. So let's wait and see what happens. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in so I will know what you would like us to be speaking about. Okay? Thank you so much. Take good care and Godspeed. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and a bientôt.